Hey, 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 Burn Brighters. How is everyone? Hello from Houston. Hello, Dr. Pat. How are you, beautiful soul?
Awesome. I'm so excited to talk with you today. And I want to thank everybody for tuning us in, turning us on. I know we got a little bit of a start here because we needed to get some things aligned for you because this show is about alignment. For those of you out there, we're going to skip the first break. We're going to roll on. This is a live call-in show because what we're about to talk about is time to fly. It is time to fly. And this is about embracing the gift of 2020 and launching yourself into 2021. And Jennifer and I are going to go through, now most of you know me, Benny, totally Pollyanna Patty here, whatever Benny has called me in 16 years. But I will tell you this, we are living in an age and a day right now where we are being given challenges. And those challenges are not to stop us. Yes. You know who's on the potter's wheel. What will you sculpt? Jennifer, why is this so important for you today? And for all the Burn Brighters out there, man, if you don't know how to fly by the end of today's show, you will have wings.
Absolutely. I'm so glad we're talking about this today. The cosmic alignment and what I love to call divine right timing is exquisite. Because what's happening right now is, we always come through a dark night of soul before we really are ready to launch and then go fly in the open space, fly on our own. And that's exactly what's happening right now. So for all of us, so many of us have really been up against some serious challenges. We have really been through the dark night of soul. And this all happens for us so that we can clean out the end of the Piscean age and get everything cleaned and cleared. The closet's all cleaned out now. The skeletons have been addressed. They're gone. Now we're in a stage of integration and we are ready to fly into 2021. So I am so excited and I'm hoping that you can feel some of this gorgeous Venus energy that's hit us this week and today. It just feels fantastic.
And what I love about this Mercury in retrograde, just to put it in a little bit of perspective, is we are ruled here as a broadcast network, and certainly whenever you're doing anything vocally or communication-wise, Mercury is your ruler. Yes. But what's interesting about this is people talk about Mercury in retrograde as if stop your life. And that is one of, I think, the greatest misconceptions. And by the way, let's hit this up, Jennifer. Mercury is called it's called the trickster of the zodiac. And I will tell you what the greatest trickster of the zodiac would like to convince all of us to do. It would like to convince us to do nothing. And I'm not a super astrologer expert, but I will tell you that that is not the Mercury retrograde that I'm used to. Why? If we were to do nothing, you would not hear from us today. What do you think it means for you, Jennifer?
Well, for me, because again, it's so important that we have to be doing our inner work, which I have personally made an inner commitment my entire spiritual life to do my inner work so that I can progress and unfold spiritually. And what this particular Mercury retrograde means for me and what I am feeling and watching unfold in front of my own very own eyes is that I'm being called to deeply reflect and deeply integrate all of the changes that I have made since the beginning of 2020, since the Grand Stellium. And thank goodness I've made them. And let me tell you, I thought a couple of them were going to take me out. Let me tell you, you guys know I just went through what could be termed as a catastrophic divorce, okay? We'll get into that in a future episode of how things have actually worked out. But what I'm already seeing now is the importance of how that dark night of soul in my divorce went down, why it went down the way it did, and where it has brought me now. So we're going to talk about some of that because some of the things that I have been called to reflect on is, in some ways, we need to really be much kinder to ourselves and start cheering ourselves on instead of flogging for mistakes that we think we've made. And I'll just go ahead and share with you. One of the things that I'm really integrating and giving myself tremendous credit for is that I stayed the course and I'm following my agreements all the way through to the very end, even if it was excruciatingly painful. I'm following them through all the way to the end. And we could talk a little bit more about that, because I think that's a really big key takeaway of today's show leading into 2021, because we've got 3 months left and we want to wrap all this stuff up so that we are set to go for 2021.
So one of the things.
So what are your thoughts? I know you've had a lot going on.
Well, let's talk about Mercury and Scorpio for a moment.
Oh, yes.
Because, we're talking about emotional, mysterious, and an intense sign. That's what Scorpio is for a lot of people.
Yes.
And what it drives us to do, and this is exactly what you and I are going to talk about today, it takes us on more probing, psychological manner of thinking, and communicating. So isn't it interesting that this particular sign, and having it be like retrograde, but the bottom line is it's all about this. It is this idea of deep, intimate connections with each other, right?
Yes.
And maybe this retrograde gives us a few more hiccups than it's ever given us. But the probing, the mindset, overthinking is not your friend. Overthinking the tiniest little things is not your friend. And that's really a great way to kick this up and start. Because let's talk about it from your point of view. The initiation is what for us today?
Well, the initiation that each of us goes through, and you've heard me talk about the hero's journey, and I'll do an entire podcast separately, and we'll do an entire show over the hero's journey. But what the initiation really is when we've come out of the abyss, we've come through our trials and tribulations, and we are catapulted like sitting on a volcano. And I just had my volcano erupt. So there's going to be more volcanoes erupt in the next coming weeks and a couple of months, right? We've got more changes coming, but they are meant to catapult us into this new world, because it takes a tremendous amount of energy to catapult us, one person, much less the globe, into this new spiritual awakening, to this new way of being that we're now going to. So I'm so grateful for Scorpio right now, because in my sidereal chart, I have a moon in Scorpio. And here's what it means for me. Number one, Scorpio is also, like you said, it rules what's unseen. It rules the psychological, and it also rules our psychic abilities, our intuition, our ability to connect with the divine, to discover what's been going on behind the scenes, the spiritual journey that we're all on. Scorpio is going to bring more and more of that to light if we're the ones looking for truth, right? So if you're actually looking for truth, you're going to see that. Now, the Scorpio energy, Scorpio has the stinger, right? So a part of what we want to make sure that we do is that we are leading with love, and we're not using that stinger to sting somebody, because that's the shadow side of Scorpio. So we want to make sure that we are leading with love, not leading with a firearm. Okay, we don't want to lead with aggression. We want to lead with love.
And let's talk about this, because I don't want Mercury in retrograde. And thank you, you wonderful little trickster, you, to think and diminish the fact that Jupiter in Capricorn has been one of the most robust and lucky and expansive item. Now, how do I say that in the middle of COVID-19? So I want to just reflect for a minute, if we could, and just step back and look at what you're seeing in your practice and what people have moved beyond. Because if, in fact, this idea of Jupiter, Capricorn coming through, it'll be here till December 19th or 20th or something. Mm-hmm. Think about maybe what would happen if Jupiter wasn't in Capricorn. Would we have innovated with Zoom the way we did? Would we be able to keep kids learning online? Would we be able to get innovative about what we do in our offices to open up? Would we have been able to get perhaps funding? And for those of you independent out there, if you have not gotten PPP, man, I'm telling you, it doesn't matter what line of business you're in. If you are independent, if you fill out a 1099, file for that relief. And please, many people don't even know that if you are a contract 1099, yes, you can get unemployment. So the reason I'm talking about this, Jennifer, and I'd like you to weigh in, is because under normal circumstances, none of this would have been available to contract people at all. Zero, like a big fat zero. But the Jupiter and Capricorn side of this allows us to move beyond the situation and hone in on the abundance of the universe. But it has a hitch. We must take action. Tell me what you're seeing with your clients. Are they stuck? Do they need healing? Where are we?
Oh, well, of course. So there's so much to share, unpack with what you're pitching over here. So largely what I'm seeing in my practice right now, I have seen a pivot. I have seen clients who've been working with me for a while now, who were really stuck ending toxic relationships of every type. With marriages, with romantic, intimate relationships, even immediate family members, businesses, the company that they were working for, they're no longer working for, things like that. So I've seen my clients have made this massive pivot. And those that are aligning with the divine plan, because I'm really big on this, and I'm going to step back here, I'm going to throw this in right here now. I really invite everyone to take a breath and have an open heart and an open mind about the divine plan. And perhaps we've all been in the dark night of soul, okay? Many people on the globe have been in a dark night of soul. But I would invite you to open your heart and open your mind to what COVID-19 really has done for us. Because if we really, truly walk our talk and we truly believe that we are in a divine plan and we are part of it, that COVID-19 is not a mistake. It is a gift. It has forced massive change that we all needed to make on the globe, in our countries, in our states, our local communities, our local companies, ourselves, our families. And my clients that have been working with me for a while have made drastic changes. And now they're starting to reap the benefits, because I love what you just said. That first of all, we've had in business, as you know, I have an MBA and a big business background. We've been through different black swan events. So that's a business term, meaning something that appears to be catastrophic, changes that nobody, act of God, came along that changes life as we know it. And we had to change to adapt to the new way. 9/11 was one. There have been many, okay, the tsunamis, there have been many black swan events. And now this is, I would think, probably arguably so, the greatest black swan event of all time. And God knows what it's doing. The divine plan knows that this is the spiritual awakening that was scheduled in the divine plan. We are ending the age of Pisces, the last 2,000 years. We're entering the age of Aquarius. We're going to a whole new way of being, where we will have much more connection to the divine and leading our own lives based on our divine guidance, not just the mind. Okay, the mind has its place, but we don't want mind running the show, right? It gets us in trouble. So those are my clients who have done this for themselves, because what I really do is I help empower people to find their own truth. I'm not the one who actually does the healing. I'm actually the facilitator of healing, where my clients are empowered to find their own truth, create their own healing, and get their own truth so they can make the necessary changes in their lives. And we do that by asking for divine guidance from their inner spiritual team, if you will. So those clients who have done that have done a fantastic job. And they are now, it's interesting, people are now starting new relationships that they never would have guessed. They're new companies because they've adapted. They've using their creative abilities to adapt their business or start a business or change a business, so that there's a space for the creative flow to flow in. And I'm just so thrilled for them and all the successes that I'm seeing in my client base. It's just so heart-opening to see it happen right in front of your very eyes.
Yeah. Couple that with the fact that the headlines this morning, China is rebounding economically.
Yeah.
Now, people would say, you got to be kidding. How is that? Well, put the overlay of this last new moon, put the energy shifting, look at what the action is that each and every one of us can take, and then help us go through the healing part, Jennifer, so that we always talk about action. The work that you do is help people go from here to there. And we're going to talk and make some announcements about where you're going in a subsequent show, maybe a little bit today. But we too are in that place. It doesn't mean we started yesterday, but somehow things are just popping. Yeah. How action oriented are you in moving or helping your folks move forward?
So yes, as I'm so glad you asked this question, because it is a wonderful opportunity to clarify what I do. So as everyone knows, I'm a licensed clinician. I'm a board certified holistic nurse, and I hold advanced certifications in various energy medicine modalities, such as gem and diamond, Reiki, and NLP. So as a practitioner, what I do is I help my clients, like you said, get from point A to point B, right? And sometimes point C if they're going to stretch goal and go to a totally new level. But my role is to take my client and meet my client exactly where they are today, whatever that means or looks like for the individual client. And then we take a look at, energetically speaking, where is their energetic anatomy? What repairs need to be made? For example, their chakra system may need actual metaphysical repair or upgrades. And we can talk about that in an upcoming episode, because with these changes, with the balancing of the divine feminine and the sacred masculine, I'm actually seeing clients' energetic anatomy being upgraded. The shape of their chakras is actually changing. It's actually being upgraded. So what I do is having been from burning out to burning bright, right? I have a bird's eye view of where each client is, so I can help step them through the individual process. And I think you have to have lived it yourself to really be able to help anybody. Because what I do is help my clients in a facilitative way heal their thoughts, memories, and emotions from all of their traumas that they've experienced this lifetime and even past lifetimes that are affecting them today, so they can take the next step. And that's what every session does. It's step by step by step by step. So I kind of, if you will, the nurse in me kind of comes out, and what I do is I kind of like take you by the hand and just step you through your own hero's journey, if you will, your own experiences in a nice, slow, metered place so that you can handle it, because these are big changes, right? So, we want to make small changes, incremental increases over time, right, to get us to where we're going. And it's just so wonderful to see clients just blossom now that I've been working with for a while.
And it's interesting because if we just take a moment, and we're going to talk about this more when we come back from break, there is this nature of expansiveness. And what I mean by that is adding things on, whether you're like us and you're going to be adding more channels, whether it's that, or even if you go into the political realm for a moment, which we're not going to spend a whole lot of time in, but the idea of adding 3 seats to the Supreme Court, it's not just chit-chat anymore. But it's because there's an expansive energy right now. And I would love to hear from you about what happens when the expansive energy of the universe gives you an idea and you do not take the idea and run with it. Talk about how that affects burn bright or burn not bright.
Oh, you're exactly right, because that is a part of what we're being taught right now. We're being taught many things. But one of which we're being taught is that any idea that we have is either divinely inspired or created from a lower vibratory place that may not serve us so well anymore. So as we grow and we unfold, we are divinely inspired through our intuition, partly which comes through the brow chakra, partly comes through the crown chakra, partly comes through the heart chakra, right? But we will receive divine guidance. And it may come as an idea, or an insight or a yearning. Like say you suddenly want to change you want to change what you do for a living. And I'm going to make a joke out of it, but you no longer want to pole dance, but you want to go do hair, or you want to go do nails. Like say, the pole dancing got me through college, but it was really fun for a while, but ew. And now I want to go and let's say do hair or nails. I'm kind of being a little funny about it, but you kind of get the point. Because for me, it was all those years in corporate America trained and gave me all the experience and the wisdom. And then, a while back, I was inspired to go and start Burn Bright Today to become what I'm supposed to be and to serve in this greater way that I'm supposed to serve. So when I first got that idea, I had to act on it. You'll get one idea at a time. That's all it takes. So if you're out there right now and you're getting this yearning to go and do something or to paint or to sing or to build an online company or to teach or whatever it is, or to maybe move somewhere, or maybe ask somebody out on a date that you've been dying to ask out on a date, I would just encourage you to take that first step because you're being divinely guided or divinely inspired. And to your point, we have to act on it. But all we have to do is just take one little step at a time, and then we'll be shown the next step. And that's how I've gotten to where I am today with Burn Bright Today and the franchise that it's becoming. So you've got to take that inspiration and act on it. Absolutely.
So when we come back from break, one of the things we're going to be talking about is how does this energy pull us into a place of enlightened leadership? Mm-hmm. How does it take us there? What are we seeing across the globe? Who are the folks that are standing out and making some tough decisions? Mm-hmm. What are we boiling it down to? And what is the next major astrological event coming up right now, weeks away? But before we do, how do people find out more about you? Let's get them over to your social media, Facebook, and how do they work with you?
Oh, absolutely. So come on over to Burn Bright Today. Make sure you have enough T's. burnbrighttoday.com. And you can follow me at Burn Bright Today on your favorite Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram. You can come find me. And if you would like to learn more about working with me, just give me a call. Contact me through the website or call the Wayne 100 number, and we'll get you set up for a complimentary consultation, see where you're at, and we'll see if it's a good fit for both of us, and we'll get you in and get you started.
And when we come back, we're taking your questions. 1-800-930-2819. How do we heal a broken heart? That's a song. How do we heal from the inside out? How do we heal, our corporate influence in the world? How do we heal who we are in whatever aspect of life? Are you ready to throw out the playbook? We're going to take a short break, everybody. Benny, David, we'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. Burn Bright Today, Jennifer Marcenelle. I want to make sure you go over to burnbrighttoday.com, facebook.com, Burn Bright Today, Twitter, Burn Bright Today, Instagram, Burn Bright Today. And by the way, hop over to LinkedIn, Jennifer Marcenelle. Now, we're talking about shifts and changes. It is time to fly. Yes. Time to fly. You want to get the wings and that beautiful wind under your wings, and you want to step into who you are, the gift. Now, here's one of the things, Jennifer, let's talk about this. There's a major event coming up, but even the rough stuff we've gone through this year, even the rough stuff, we have to take a moment. We have to celebrate. I mean, I went through the house this weekend and I literally cleaned things out. Got a little black eye because I wasn't as careful. And that's one of the things we're going to talk about. Wasn't as careful as I should be. And so, boom, something pops out of a corner and just missed my eye. That would have been a whole different experience. Got my nose. But, what is it about this where we are energized to reshape, recreate, clean out, make room for the new? And how will this event mimic that for us or not, maybe?
Oh, yeah. So you're talking a lot, what you're referring to, these sudden surprises that really like catch you off guard, that force you to use your intuition. That's Uranian energy. That's Uranus. And I don't know about you, but I kind of grew up not liking or enjoying surprises. I grew up in a childhood where there was a difficult time in my family to where, as the family was breaking up, there were the surprises that were coming were unhappy and actually life shattering. So I actually had to do some work to like heal my relationship with Uranus. I know that sounds a little weird, but it's actually true, because I had to actually learn to heal all of those unhappy surprises that suddenly like took my eye out, right? Got poked in the eye or got sucker punched, to become where I can embrace changes. And that's what Uranus is doing right now. So you've got Pluto, which brings up everything that needs to be seen, everything that's been happening that we were not able to see, so we can see it. And then you've got Uranus going to go, surprise. Now, how are you going to follow your intuition and adapt and get to the next level? So we're seeing so much of that right now. And what I'm seeing personally, of course, this is unfolding in each of our lives. What I'm having things that I've had to heal from former relationships, and so are my clients. So all of that is going on to get us to this next level. So November 3rd is huge. It's going to be a big, massive shift, because what have we been talking about the last 18 months on this show? We were talking about first the Grand Stellium that happened January 12th, okay, which has not happened in 500 years. And Jupiter was not involved last time. So, and what happened 500 years ago during the Grand Stellium? That's when Martin Luther broke away from the Catholic Church, the ruler at the time, and started the Reformation. So that's what 2020 has been doing, breaking down old structures that were very controlling, that led with aggression. You know, it's like kind of carrying a firearm. Now, I'm not against firearms, and I'm all for protecting yourself, but we're moving away from leading with aggression to leading with love. So this is why we're going to have more and more surprises in the coming days and weeks, and we're going to see things that haven't been seen. We may get new news that we're not expecting, but it's going to help us get to the next level. And I'd like to, before I turn it back over to you, Dr. Pat, I would like to just encourage everyone to really just have an open heart and an open mind about change in your life. Let go of, I know I'm having to do this, I'm having to literally let go of all of my old assumptions so that I can be shown divine truth, whatever that is. And it's hard. I've had to let go of a lot, trust me. But I just want to say, we've got big changes coming, but God knows what it's doing. And we're going to a far better place, even if it doesn't look like it when we're still in this dark night of soul, right?
Yeah. I mean, part of this too is looking at what we have in front of us and really making let's just say just an incredible attempt not to step backwards into where we've been. And I think that's a trick for folks. And that's where you come in, because grieving, healing, all of the above. But what's done is done. And if it didn't turn out the way you want, it's still worth eating a cupcake or whatever you're going to eat to celebrate it, because it is done. And, you know, that was important for me this weekend, is going through and making sure all of that old stuff had a home, was put away, and get ready for the new. And that's really what we're pointing to. What has changed? Let's talk about corporations for a minute, because a lot has changed. Corporations that would never allow people to work from home, oh my gosh, it's like, whoa, if we don't do that, we're not going to be in business, right?
Yes.
Corporations that have had to really adjust what they do or how they do it to say, yeah, you got the kiddos, you got to do that, and then you got to come home. So we have seen in a short period of time some of the most drastic changes in corporate policy by some of the most rigid dinosaur corporations on the planet.
Yes.
We can't go back. It's going to be hard for these dinosaurs to say, oopsie, no more COVID, we can't do it, when the production and the performance of people has just accelerated. Is this part of what you're talking about too?
Oh, absolutely. And on steroids, big, let's call them the dinosaurs, okay? Those big, powerful companies that were very rooted in control, top down leadership. Whatever you do, don't call in sick. You're supposed to work even if you're ill. COVID taught us that. That's the meaning of contagion, that, we've actually had to cover our face because we've had to learn that what we have can contaminate other people. The words that we use can contaminate other people. Our energy can contaminate and harm other people. This is a part of the gift of COVID. There you have it. So these companies have been forced to go through major changes, and new companies are also coming up. And a part of this energy now, and we'll get into Jupiter, we've got so much to talk about today, but a part of when Jupiter and Saturn move direct in Aquarius, December 21st, okay? The new way is in and there ain't no going back, right? And any company, any corporation that has not made these changes won't survive the energetic shift. And that's a part of what I do when I help corporations, the companies that I work with. I work with companies that are like, hey, we need your help, okay? We need help bridging the gap or making it across this bridge from the way that we conducted business, the way that we behaved, the mentality that we held, the controlling energy that we held over our employees. And it's like, we need help bridging that to kind of like a kinder, softer corporation that now people can actually flourish in. Because, this all comes from the top down. I used to have a say, this is a little crass, but I'm going to share it with you, that the fish stinks from the head down. So, if you're working with a corporation where senior leadership is, a little smelly, and maybe their divine, sacred, their sacred masculine energy maybe hasn't been so sacred, okay? That's now a time for them to heal, because companies, organizations, even large corporations, are their leadership. Their energy and their ability to thrive comes from senior leadership. It comes top down. So those corporate leaders who are able to make this change and who have personally been working with me privately, I have a very strict privacy policy about who I work with. That's for good reason. That the senior leadership that I work with in corporations, they have to personally heal their own thoughts, memories, and emotions, so that when they go in and they hold the space for their corporation, they're holding that new vibratory rate and it flows down through the company. And I'm going to make a prediction based on what I've seen and what I'm getting.
All right.
The corporations who are able to do that are going to thrive. And those corporations who can't make these changes and heal themselves to heal their organizations are going to really have a hard time in 2021.
Yeah. And the notion too, and this is what I love about this Mercury, calling Mercury a trickster deal, right? Yeah. What I love about this and this idea of this trickster deal is that the underlying communication and the thoughts and the mindset that is being held by some folks is, when this is over, we can go back to normal. No.
Yeah,
no,
you're smoking crack, guys.
no, like that normal, it's out of the bag. All of the things that we've been told cannot be done, it have now been done. Right. Everything, including, certain wind turbines. Matter of fact, I got invited to go climb up a wind turbine, and I'm just going to wait till I get a new knee to do that. But, these are the things we're seeing now. Children are starving. Children are starving. Families are starving. There are things that are happening that Jennifer and I both are very aware of. And we carry the energy of transformation and transmutation so that those folks can get help. but you're the people that can help those folks. And so the first thing that we have to do is make sure you're getting help, I'm getting help, Jennifer's getting help, so we can help the people that can help others that can help themselves. That is the expansive nature of what we are in. If you're not in service, I got more friends, Jennifer, out there with the census, out there. I have a friend that's going county to county to see if the voting ballot boxes in my state are still there. But let me ask you this. As we're moving forward, it is, in your words, a time to fly. The age of Aquarius. Help us get from this over here, this shift we're in now, Jupiter's still playing in Capricorn, and now let's go, and I'm ready to start my engines.
Absolutely. And I think the number one thing I could say to help that really works with help get my clients from point A to point B is to help them make the journey from their head to their heart. And that's where we're going with the Aquarian age. The mind is very important, but the heart holds our wisdom. And when we lead with our heart, our decisions will naturally align with the divine plan. And we'll naturally begin to lead with love, lead with kindness, and lead and create corporations and structures that serve the greater good of all concerned. That's the way I have set up Burn Bright Today, the franchise, is that it serves the greater good of all concerned. So it is not driven by profit. It makes profit, but it's not driven by profit. It is driven by service. And I lead with love, and I lead from a place of service, as is the franchise, as are any of my colleagues that have come to franchise in with Burn Bright Today. And I would encourage every single person, regardless of how you serve today, whether you, not everyone's meant to have their own company. That's not what I'm really saying here. What I'm saying is to get a place, get yourself into a position where you can work with your creative abilities and work to serve the greater good of all concerned. And that will help drive these big changes like what you and I are talking about. And you're right, because this is a part of what the spiritual awakening is changing, is so that not all of the profit or the benefit is at the top or ultra wealthy, for example. I'm not going to pick on them because that's not where I'm coming from. Right. But what I'm meaning is opening it up so each of us has the ability to use our creative ability to open and create a space or work for a company or maybe even work for ourselves where prosperity can flow through all the way down to those families that are struggling and all the way down to those children who need food and all the way down to, and I'm going to go all the way with this, all the way down to the children that need to be adopted, the puppies that are looking for homes, and the pets, the kittens that are looking for homes, all the way down. So don't ever discount how you're serving and how you're supporting what's going on. I know that's a little far out there, but that's exactly what I'm seeing. And I'm seeing it in my own self. I really stretched when I adopted a puppy, but boy, has it brought more love into my life. And as love comes in, so does prosperity. And when one of us lifts up, everybody else around us does too. And it will ripple effect to those children who need food. It's just how it works.
So I want to talk for a minute about, what you're doing and how you're changing to prepare people for what's to come. And, Jupiter is not the only planet that is moving, but Jupiter will be in Aquarius, and it does have significance and meaning if you follow it. But the thing that I love about this is that regardless of how that affects you, tap into what's going on inside of you and ask yourself if there's a longing. Ask yourself if there's been something that has been calling you forward. And then ask yourself, are you taking an action today on that thing? Because, Jennifer, if we're not, then there's something that probably needs to be removed, healed, or transmuted, right?
Absolutely. and I'm going to take this just a little step further and what that might look like, because you are really onto something here. And this is what I'm seeing in my practice. What might that look like? Is there something that's been, I call it a niggle. Is there something that you've been repressing that you know that you need to go do? Do you need to maybe move to another state? Do you need to maybe change your career? Is there some class you've been wanting to sign up for, but you just haven't yet? Is there some person that you know that you need to go ask out on a date? That you just, now it's by the end of the month, you're just going to have to do it, because the energies are going to be there to support that. And I'm so glad you brought this up, because so many times this is one of the major reasons that clients come to me and to the services that I provide. Is this is a part of what energy medicine provides, is it helps energetically repair some of the energetic anatomy that physically needs to be repaired so you can take those next steps. The emotional body right now, especially to the end of the month with Uranus doing what Uranus is doing for us, we may be experiencing extremes of emotion. And that is to help us purge out old extremes of emotion, old painful thoughts and memories that have been holding us back. Now, I'm really glad we brought this up, because as the emotional body heals and as we heal our thoughts, our memories, and emotions, I just strongly really urge you and encourage you to find an energy medicine practitioner to work with, because
I agree.
We want to be very careful with purging our emotions. We want to do it in a healthy way that is safe and protected and private for us, but also in a way that we don't accidentally rage on a loved one, rage on somebody that you work with. You don't want to rage on a loved one, a child, a pet, even our plants feel that, okay? So you need to really have a safe place to do your healing. And then it's incredible the new things that can come in, but that old has to go out before the new can ever come in. It's just how it works.
Boy, you nailed something. This idea of raging on someone you love is really at the forefront. You know, what's going on between people right now, it just requires something different. You know, maybe you need to take an extra shot of CBD oil under your tongue or something that's going to allow you not to rage out on somebody you love. But if the raging is going on, to be able to say to them, listen, wow, what you just said hurts my heart. Like, come on, we're friends. What can we do differently? I know you're under stress. But if we don't do this, whatever the energy is that's coming in, we are just going to carry this with us like a couple of steel caskets chained to us that we cannot let go.
Absolutely. And we have now been given this time, this is unprecedented time in history right now of all humanity. In the next 3 months, this is an incredible opportunity. If you've ever had an opportunity to heal some of these old wounds, now is the time. Chiron is there supporting us. We haven't even spoken about Chiron, the small planet that helps with one of the major planets of healing, health and healing. Now is the time to reach out for help and get the help that you need so you can heal the wound that you have that's creating that rage. Because the rage is a message. Anger is a message that we have something deep within ourselves that needs to be healed. And energetically, yes, we can make decisions, we can have conversations, but truly, so much of this is energetic. It has to be energetically healed within a chakra, within a meridian, within the main chakra channel. There are many, the yin and the yang field, there are many different aspects of the energy field that actually have to be repaired. But I'd also like to just say this, that it's not your fault. If you're experiencing rage or anger, perhaps take a step back, give yourself a break and say, you know what? Something happened to me somewhere along the line, and I just need some help healing it. Because if I can heal this and I can understand it and I can release the energy that's trapped in my energy field, oh my God, love can come in. What a concept, right? I see this every single day in my practice. I've experienced it personally. I see it professionally, and it's transformative. What can take place when you do this for yourself? And here we are. Now is the perfect time to go into 2021. Get some healing and go take off. The sky's the limit. We're going to be flying, baby.
Well, and let's talk about some of the reasons for that, just to really solidify what you just said. If you put a couple of planets together, and we talked about Jupiter being in Aquarius, one of the things you have is you have this innate ability to create, innovate. The difficulty with this is you are going to create, innovate out of the box.
Yes.
And so this is now out of the box thinking. If you thought we got out of the box to really fine tune or maneuver or navigate through these past months, now get ready for innovation beyond anything you've imagined, and you're part of it. See, the part, Jennifer, we forget, we're not talking about people in office or people that are wealthy. Everybody listening to this is going to have the opportunity for good luck, good fortune, and all of the above all coming together. And this is what you're going to be talking about as we move forward, and also demonstrating, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Because you're exactly right. This is a part of what COVID has done for us, is we're moving away from I have mine and you have yours. We're moving to we help each other. I've got you, you've got me, we're better together, and together we're unstoppable. And to do that, we have to have our creative flow. We have to have companies, organizations, structures, family dynamics, partnership relationship dynamics, where that creativity is allowed to flow, where each individual soul person, we're divine beings, is allowed to be exactly who we are, without apology, without having to defend yourself, but to be who you are and give that creative input into whatever it is that you're doing, cooking, cleaning, taking care of your baby, raising your children, teaching, running a corporation. It doesn't matter. But now is the time that this is now more than ever with Jupiter involved. It's going to be the new way. And it's just incredibly inspiring.
Yeah. Yeah, it is beyond. And that's part of this. Some of the innovations that we've seen pop up that are not talked about are the advancements of, ozone to eradicate, microbials or things like that. And, this is something that's been used across the country. It may not sound like a big thing, but it is a big thing for some people. Jennifer, thank you so much for today. I want to ask you your personal message. What do you want to leave us with today? And I don't know if you can give us a sneak peek as to what's to come.
I would say that even if you're in the dark night of soul right now, if it's the darkest, this could possibly be the darkest night of soul right now that you've ever been through in your life. I would just say, hang on, stay the course, because it's always darkest right before the light. And that's exactly where we are right now. Just keep going, reach out for help, ask your spiritual guides for help, ask God for help in whatever way that you do that. Okay. But keep going and trust, because everything that we have is being provided, and it's right there. It's right there. So keep on going and continue to burn bright. And it's a new day, right? But keep burning bright today. We're all in this together.
Yeah. I love it. Jennifer Marcenelle, go to the website, Burn Bright Today. Jennifer, thank you so much for everything you're doing.
Absolutely. My pleasure. And keep it up, Dr. Pat. You're awesome. Love working with you.
We are rocking and rolling, everybody. We're not done yet. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back.